Concentrate.
Concentrate.
Now please concentrate. Adrian was finding it difficult to concentrate.
Be quiet. Let me concentrate on my homework.
Italian industry is concentrated mainly in the north.
Construction of the aircraft is being concentrated at Prestwick.
Women concentrate in a small number of occupations.
Relaxing in a jacuzzi concentrates the mind wonderfully. Relaxing in a jacuzzi concentrates the mind wonderfully.
Doctors are aiming to concentrate more on prevention than cure. I'm concentrating my efforts on writing my autobiography.
Orange juice concentrate.
Concentrated.
Concentrated.
Concentrated orange juice.
A concentrated cream detergent.
He made a concentrated effort to improve his work.
Concentration.
Concentration.
She needed all her powers of concentration to stop herself from slipping on the icy road. Lack of concentration was a real problem.
I lost my concentration and fell asleep.
Concentration on your health.
Concentration on providing value and service. Concentration on providing value and service. Concentration on providing value and service.
The concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
The concentration of power in the hands of a few.
Additives are expensive, but are used in very low concentrations.
Allowable concentrations of pesticides in drinking water. Allowable concentrations of pesticides in drinking water.
Concentration camp.
Concentration camp.
Concentric.
Concentric.
Concentric circles.
Concept.
Concept.
The concept of total patient care.
The concept of infinite space.
The concept that we are citizens of one world. A new concept in business travel.
Our basic concepts of decent human behaviour. It's very simple once you grasp the concept.
Conception.
Conception.
A conception of parliamentary democracy.
Changing conceptions of the world.
They have no conception of what women really feel and want.
The original conception of the book. The moment of conception.
Conceptual.
Conceptual.
The conceptual framework of the play.
Conceptual art.
Conceptual art.
Conceptualize.
Conceptualize.
How do older people conceptualize their health?
Concern.
Concern.
The recent rise in crime is a matter of considerable public concern.
Our concern for human rights.
The rise of concern about the environment.
The growing concern over inflation.
Concern with worsening law and order. Concern with worsening law and order.
Increased concern that the war could continue for a long time. Increased concern that the war could continue for a long time. The activities of the far right have been a cause for concern for a while now. The activities of the far right have been a cause for concern for a while now. The activities of the far right have been a cause for concern for a while now.
In her last days, the poet expressed concern for her father.
One of the concerns that people have is the side effects of treatment.
Education remains the electorate's main concern.
The concerns expressed by parents.
His main concern is to be able to provide for his family.
The consumer has become a major concern for this government.
Topics of concern to the television viewers. Topics of concern to the television viewers.
He was moved by her obvious concern.
Parents' loving concern for their children.
The money side of the business is your concern.
His affairs were none of her concern.
The restaurant is a family concern.
We will continue to run the company as a going concern.
This study concerns couples' expectations of marriage. This study concerns couples' expectations of marriage.
The report concerns the drug traffic on the Mexican-US border. The report concerns the drug traffic on the Mexican-US border.
Issues like food additives do concern me.
The tax changes will concern large corporations rather than small businesses.
He told them not to concern themselves about him.
He loved his wife and concerned himself with her needs and desires.
Concerned.
Concerned.
Divorce is very painful, especially when children are concerned. Some of the farmers concerned suffer particularly from the low prices.
We are trying to reach an agreement with all concerned. We are trying to reach an agreement with all concerned.
All the people concerned with children's education.
There is no evidence that he was concerned in any criminal activity. She is concerned about how little food I eat.
He called the police because he was concerned for Gemma's safety.
Pamela was concerned that her schoolwork had deteriorated despite her hard work.
The drug came under strong attack from concerned professional observers.
As far as Americans are concerned, a lot of our hotels are below average.
As far as I'm concerned, you can forget about it.
As far as traffic is concerned, there are no delays at the moment. Many politicians are more concerned with power and control than with the good of the people.
Mr. Quinn is simply concerned to hold on to his job. He was genuinely concerned for the children.
This chapter is concerned with the mental health of older people.
Concerning.
Concerning.
Calls from young children concerning lost pets.
The facts concerning Ma's car crash.
Concert.
Concert.
A rock concert.
A concert of French choral music.
We were going to a concert in Bath Abbey. She still does about 100 concerts every year.
Britain has to pursue policies in concert with other EU members.
It appeared that both the accused were acting in concert in the attack upon the deceased.
They're appearing in concert tonight at the Royal Concert Hall.
Concerted.
Concerted.
Libraries have made a concerted effort to attract young people. Concert-goer.
Concert-goer.
Concert hall.
Concert hall.
Concertina.
Concertina.
Concertmaster.
Concertmaster.
Concerto.
Concerto.
Concession.
Concession.
A policy of no concessions to terrorists.
The British were not prepared to make any concessions.
His readiness to make concessions on many of the issues raised. We will try to force further concessions from the government.
The committee has won a number of major concessions from the prison authorities.
The ending of tax concessions for homeowners.
The import-export concessions that had been granted to the island.
The concession of autonomy to the universities.
To qualify for travel concessions, you have to be 60.
Open daily, adults £4, concessions £2.
He took off his jacket as a concession to the heat.
He made no concessions to fashion.
The company owns valuable logging and mining concessions. The company owns valuable logging and mining concessions.
Joe runs a hamburger concession in the mall.
Concessionaire.
Concessionaire.
Concessionary.
Concessionary.
A concessionary fares scheme for pensioners.
Concession stand.
Concession stand.
Conch.
Conch.
Concierge.
Concierge.
Conciliate.
Conciliate.
Efforts to conciliate the unions.
Conciliation.
Conciliation.
Conciliation talks between the two sides.
Conciliatory.
Conciliatory.
Perhaps you should adopt a more conciliatory approach. Perhaps you should adopt a more conciliatory approach.
Brooks felt in no mood to be conciliatory. Concise.
Concise.
Your summary should be as clear and concise as possible. Your summary should be as clear and concise as possible.
The Concise Dictionary of Spoken Chinese.
Conclave.
Conclave.
Conclude.
Conclude.
The report concluded that the school should be closed immediately.
Richardson concluded from his studies that equality between the sexes is still a long way off.
When the investigation is concluded, the results will be sent to the U.S. Attorney's Office. When the investigation is concluded, the results will be sent to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Francis, having concluded his business with James, left for Miami.
Each chapter concludes with a short summary. Each chapter concludes with a short summary.
She concluded by saying she was proud to be from Salford.
To conclude, I'd like to express my thanks to my family.
So now, she concluded, I'm trying to bring some order to the garden. So now, she concluded, I'm trying to bring some order to the garden. That same year, France concluded a trading agreement with Spain.
Conclusion.
Conclusion.
These are the report's main conclusions.
I soon came to the conclusion that she was lying.
It is still too early to reach a conclusion on this point.
There are perhaps two main conclusions to be drawn from the above discussion.
All the evidence pointed to the conclusion that he was guilty.
It's important not to jump to conclusions.
The police came to the inescapable conclusion that the children had been murdered.
At the conclusion of the meeting, little progress had been made.
In conclusion, I would like to say how much I have enjoyed myself today.
The conclusion of a peace treaty.
The outcome of the battle was a foregone conclusion.
Conclusive.
Conclusive.
The investigation failed to provide any conclusive evidence. The investigation failed to provide any conclusive evidence. Concoct.
Concoct.
John concocted an elaborate excuse for being late.
Jean concocted a great meal from the leftovers. Jean concocted a great meal from the leftovers.
Concoction.
Concoction.
He sipped the concoction cautiously.
Concomitant.
Concomitant.
War with all its concomitant sufferings. Deafness is a frequent concomitant of old age. Concord.
Concord.
Concordance.
Concordance.
A Shakespeare concordance.
A concordance to the Bible.
Concordance lines.
The concordance between the proposals.
Concordant.
Concordant.
Concourse.
Concourse.
An immense concourse of spectators.
Concrete.
Concrete.
A concrete floor.
What does that mean in concrete terms?
The lack of any concrete evidence.
A dialogue about concrete issues and problems. A dialogue about concrete issues and problems.
Concrete jungle.
Concrete jungle.
Concrete mixer.
Concrete mixer.
Concrete noun.
Concrete noun. Concubine.
Concubine.
Concur.
Concur.
The committee largely concurred with these views.
Everything concurred to produce the desired effect. Everything concurred to produce the desired effect. Concurrence.
Concurrence.
A strange concurrence of events.
Jules expressed his concurrence with a suggestion.
Concurrent.
Concurrent.
The exhibition reflected concurrent developments abroad. The exhibition reflected concurrent developments abroad. My opinions are concurrent with yours.
Because his prison sentences run concurrently, he could be free in 2 years. Concuss.
Concuss.
He was concussed by the blast.
Concussion.
He was taken into hospital with concussion. I had a concussion, a broken leg, and some minor injuries. He suffered a mild concussion as a result of the accident.
The ground shuddered and heaved with the concussion of the blast.
Condemn.
Condemn.
Politicians were quick to condemn the bombing.
The law has been condemned as an attack on personal liberty.
She knew that society would condemn her for leaving her children.
He was found guilty and condemned to death.
People condemned to a life of poverty.
His occupation condemned him to spend long periods of time away from his family. An old house that had been condemned. The pool was closed after being condemned as a health hazard. The pool was closed after being condemned as a health hazard.
Condemnation.
Condemnation.
There was widespread international condemnation of the bombing.
Condemnatory.
Condemnatory.
My father's condemnatory attitude. Condemned.
Condemned.
Condemned cell.
Condemned cell.
Condensation.
Condensation.
There was a lot of condensation on the windows. Condense.
Condense.
The mist which condensed on every cold surface.
The gaseous metal is cooled and condenses into liquid zinc.
This whole chapter could be condensed into a few paragraphs.
Condensed soup.
Condensed milk. Condensed milk.
Condenser.
Condenser.
Condescend.
Condescend.
Take care not to condescend to your readers.
Yes, I know, Clara said, condescending to look at Rose for the first time.
Condescending.
Condescending.
Professor Hutter's manner is extremely condescending. Condiment.
Condiment.
Condition.
Condition.
Conditions in the prison were atrocious.
An attempt to improve living conditions for the working classes.
Poor working conditions lead to demoralized and unproductive employees.
These children work 70 metres below ground in appalling conditions. In May, staff went on strike, demanding better pay and conditions.
The conditions during the first half of the match were appalling. The conditions during the first half of the match were appalling.
In cold conditions, you'll need a sleeping bag with a hood.
The worsening weather conditions. Under normal conditions, people will usually do what requires least effort.
Under these conditions, the fire can be rapidly controlled.
Profits increased by £1.5 million, despite the difficult economic conditions. The combination of rain and greasy surfaces made driving conditions treacherous.
The car has been well maintained and is in excellent condition.
The house was in a terrible condition. The condition of nuclear plants is a matter of great concern.
She is being treated at Walton Hospital, where her condition is described as satisfactory.
One of the victims was in a critical condition after suffering severe burns.
If you are uncertain about your physical condition, check with your doctor before trying these exercises.
I'm so out of condition, she panted.
An athlete in peak condition.
I was in no condition to cope with a train journey. Mark can't possibly drive home in that condition. Mark can't possibly drive home in that condition.
She laid down only one condition, that her name not be revealed.
There were strict conditions for letting us use their information.
The bank agreed to extend the loan if certain conditions were met.
A statement of your terms and conditions of employment can be found in the Personnel Handbook. A statement of your terms and conditions of employment can be found in the Personnel Handbook.
He was released on bail on condition that he did not go within half a mile of his mother's address.
The application was approved, subject to certain conditions.
Our goal is to create the conditions for a lasting peace.
Investment is a necessary condition of economic growth.
People suffering from this condition should not smoke. She has a serious heart condition. Was he being treated for any medical condition?
The condition of the poor in our cities.
All my paintings are ultimately about the human condition.
On no condition should untrained personnel use the equipment. People are conditioned by society. Many women are conditioned from birth to be accepting rather than questioning.
What I buy is conditioned by the amount I earn.
A shampoo that washes and conditions all in one.
Conditional. Conditional.
A conditional acceptance.
His agreement to buy our house was conditional on our leaving all the furniture in it.
Conditional discharge.
Conditional discharge.
Conditioner.
Conditioner.
Conditioning.
Conditioning.
Social conditioning makes crying more difficult for men.
Condo.
Condo.
Condolence.
Condolence.
A letter of condolence.
Condom.
Condom.
Condominium.
Condominium.
Condone.
Condone.
I cannot condone the use of violence under any circumstances.
Condor.
Condor.
Conducive.
Conducive.
An environment conducive to learning.
Conduct.
Conduct.
We are conducting a survey of consumer attitudes towards organic food.
Is it really necessary to conduct experiments on animals?
They conducted a campaign of bombings and assassinations. They conducted a campaign of bombings and assassinations.
The interview was conducted in English.
The memorial service was conducted by the Reverend David Pryor. It was the first time that I had conducted business in Brazil. It was the first time that I had conducted business in Brazil.
The orchestra is conducted by John Williams.
Who will be conducting?
The players conducted themselves impeccably, both on and off the field. Aluminium, being a metal, readily conducts heat.
On arrival, I was conducted to the Commandant's office.
A conducted tour of Berlin.
The senator's conduct is being investigated by the Ethics Committee. The senator's conduct is being investigated by the Ethics Committee.
An inquiry into the conduct of the police.
The Law Society's Code of Professional Conduct.
His arrest for disorderly conduct.
Conduction.
Conduction.
Conductive.
Conductive.
Copper is a very conductive metal.
Conductor.
Conductor.
Wood is a poor conductor of heat.
Conduit.
Conduit.
Drug traffickers have used the country as a conduit for shipments to the US. Cone.
Cone.
Coneflower. Cornflower.
Confection.
Confection.
A dreamy confection of pink beads and satin.
Confectioner.
Confectioner.
Confectioner's sugar.
Confectioner's sugar.
Confectionery.
Confectionery.
Confederacy.
The Confederacy. Confederate.
Confederate.
The young woman was his confederate, of course.
Confederation.
Confederation.
Confer.
Confer.
Franklin leant over and conferred with his attorneys.
An honorary degree was conferred on him by the university. An honorary degree was conferred on him by the university.
Conference.
Conference.
Representatives from over 100 countries attended the International Peace Conference in Geneva.
A UN conference on the environment.
After a brief conference with his aides, he left for the airport.
The meeting will be held in the conference room at 10 a.m.
Mr. Dixon is in conference.
The Western Conference Finals.
Conference call.
Conference call.
Confess.
Confess.
Edwards confessed to being a spy for the KGB.
Occasionally people confess to crimes they haven't committed just to get attention. My husband confessed he'd been having an affair with a woman in his office. My husband confessed he'd been having an affair with a woman in his office.
Torture was used, and Fian confessed. Torture was used, and Fian confessed.
Marcia confessed that she didn't really know how to work the computer.
He confessed to having a secret admiration for his opponent.
I must confess I don't visit my parents as often as I should. I must confess I don't visit my parents as often as I should.
He knelt and confessed his sin.
Confessed.
Confessed.
A confessed criminal.
Confession.
Confession.
Sanchez's confession was read out to the court. A confession of adultery.
At 3 a.m., Higgins broke down and made a full confession.
I have a confession. I like Britney Spears' music.
You must go to confession. A priest who hears confession.
A confession of faith.
Confessional.
Confessional. Confessional.
Confessor.
Confessor.
Confetti.
Confetti.
Confidant.
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 Confide.
Confide.
He confided to his friends that he didn't have much hope for his marriage.
He confided his money to his brother's safekeeping. He confided his money to his brother's safekeeping.
I've never felt able to confide in my sister.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Public confidence in the government is at an all-time low.
She had complete confidence in the doctors.
Opinion polls show that voters have lost confidence in the administration. I didn't have any confidence in myself.
Good training will give a beginner the confidence to enjoy skiing.
I felt I was doing well and my confidence began to grow.
Our goal is to prepare students to go into the business world with confidence. How can anyone say with confidence that the recession is over?
I have complete confidence in Mr. Wright's analysis of the situation.
I have every confidence that the job will be completed satisfactorily on time.
I'll tell you about Moira. In confidence, of course.
Any information given during the interview will be treated in the strictest confidence. Lawyers are satisfied that no breach of confidence took place.
Elsa took me into her confidence and told me about some of the problems she was facing.
They spent their evenings drinking wine and sharing confidences.
I have never betrayed a confidence.
Confidence building.
The use of confidence-building exercises to assist adults to return to the labour market. The use of confidence-building exercises to assist adults to return to the labour market.
Confidence trick.
Confidence trick.
Confident.
Confident.
We are confident next year's profits will be higher.
He is quietly confident that there will be no problems this time. The Prime Minister appeared relaxed and confident of winning an overall majority.
The company is confident of success.
I feel quite confident about the future.
Despite her disability, Philippa is very confident.
I feel much more confident about myself and my abilities these days. He began to read in a calm, confident voice.
We are confident we have done nothing wrong.
He began to feel confident that Zaborski was only guessing.
It is not possible to give a confident answer to the question of whether the delay was unreasonable.